This comes from Politico today. In a deal to let companies, and I'd like you to stop me when you don't understand something or you think you can explain it, Stu. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
So
This one's a wild one.
Mm-hmm.
In a deal to let companies keep trading transatlantic data, the White House built an opaque new forum that could affect national security and privacy rights without any paper trail.
There's a lot of questions in that paragraph, but usually the opening one's setting you up for the explanation. So perhaps I should wait a second.
At an undetermined date, in an undisclosed location, the Biden administration began operating a secretive new court to protect Europeans' privacy rights under U.S. law. Known officially as the Data Protection Review Court, it was authorized in an October 2022 executive order to fix a collision of European and American law that had been blocking the lucrative flow of consumer data between American and European companies for 3 years. Now, this is because Europe has just put in a very strong privacy law, and they're enforcing those things. Well, we have a problem exchanging data now because of their privacy laws. The court's 8 judges were named last November, including, Attorney General Eric Holder. He's trustworthy.
Oh, good.
Its existence has allowed companies to resume the lucrative transatlantic data trade with the blessing of EU officials.
What is the lucrative transatlantic data trade?
Yeah, don't know. They say that it's companies, but then just listen to the whole story. I mean, they say that's companies trading data, or like, for instance, Facebook having servers here with European data on their servers. Okay.
So you could argue maybe that this needs to be sorted out because there's nothing nefarious going on here, right? It's just
why the secrecy?
Very strange. Also, did we have we cover the news every day. Did we have a new bill that created this court?
No.
Was there a new discussion? What was the debate? I don't remember the Senate.
Order. A dictate.
A dictate from. It can create
president.
New courts?
New courts.
Now,
okay. The next sentence, because you understand clearly what we're talking about, right? The next sentence of this article is, the details get blurry after that.
Okay, so what we just had was the in focus part.
Yes. Okay, it's going to get a little blurry now.
Okay.
The court's location is a secret.
Okay.
The Department of Justice will not say if it has taken a case yet.
Why would you hide the location of a court that is overseeing data transfers? What on earth? Why would that need to be a secretive location?
No idea. Though the court has a clear mandate ensuring Europeans their privacy rights under U.S. law, its decisions will also be kept a secret from both the EU residents petitioning the court and the federal agencies tasked with following the law.
Wait. So someone in the EU comes to the American court
secret court
that they don't know where the location is,
right?
Or
I don't know how to
really
contact them. Don't know anything.
So when that happens, which I would assume would be very infrequently, but when they do, they go through some sort of case and then they don't get to know the result of the case.
Well, it's not only that. Plaintiffs are also not allowed to appear in person and are represented.
Well, how could they? They don't know where it is.
Correct. And are represented by a special advocate appointed by the U.S. Attorney General.
Okay, so. Hey, I've got a problem with my data, and I go to this court that I don't know where it is.
And you can't actually go to the court.
I'm not physically go. I just I contact them. They create a case. And they assign an advocate for me to argue the case, but I can't know where it is, when it's going on, and what the outcome is?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. This is just to restore some trust.
Oh, good.
Critics worry that it'll tie the hands of intelligence agencies with an unusual power. It can make binding decisions on surveillance practices with federal agencies, which won't be able to challenge those decisions. Now, I thought this was about corporate data transfers.
Yeah, what does this have to do with intelligence agencies?
Until there's some clarity on how that's going to operate, I think you could expect the intelligence community to be nervous about what it might mean, especially since it's not even clear what its caseload is going to look like. For the European citizens, it's supposed to help. The picture is just as murky. Private advocates argue that it will be nearly impossible for European residents to bring cases, given that they will have to know that they're being surveilled to file a complaint.
Right.
Quote, I don't think anyone sitting around in Spain is unhappy about his visa being denied and is going to think that it could be based on data transfers to the U.S. and go through this process.
Wait a minute. I thought we were talking about corporations trading data. What would that have to do with a visa being denied from the government?
It's weird, huh?
It feels like, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like what's actually happening is that companies, let's say in the United States, are capturing data, and then EU governments are buying the data from the companies in the United States. Or the opposite, right? Where
it's illegal for us to spy on Europeans.
Right.
On Americans. And it's illegal for them to spy on Europeans. So we spy on the Europeans. They spy on the Americans.
And it goes through companies that are just in a international data trade, which is quote unquote lucrative.
Correct. For the business community, however, the court has already done its first job. Its very existence allowed EU regulators to finally bless the resumption of the cross-border data transfers.
Oh, good.
Now, I'm not kidding. Here's the next sentence. What happens next, or perhaps is already happening, is far less clear.
So wait, the part before this was the clear part. I thought
no. The
two parts before.
2 parts before was the clear part. Then it got murky.
Murky or blurry.
And now it gets even less clear.
Got it.
Okay.
So now you can't even see light at this point.
The Data Protection Review Court is a solution to a transatlantic problem that had bedeviled much of corporate America and big tech companies in particular. The global trade in personal data is large and growing up to $7.1 trillion between the U.S. and the EU alone, but governed by legal regimes that differ sharply across borders. The private data of Europeans... Now, again, we're back to the corporations, right? Next paragraph. The private data of European citizens can legally be surveilled by U.S. intelligence agencies. But unlike Americans, Europeans have no recourse under American law if agencies overreach. Again, I thought, is this an example of a public-private partnership?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, it seems like they're going around these rules by creating an entity within some new industry where they can just make these data transfers occur without them going legally from government to government.
As Europe began to implement its stringent 2018 data privacy law, that the imbalance sat badly with EU authorities, and in both a 2015 and 2020 ruling, a European court barred companies outright from transferring or processing EU citizens' data in the U.S., or at least until the citizens had a way to pursue their rights. So they can now take the data out. They couldn't before, but now that they've done this secret court, they can take the data out because apparently people in Europe will know when they're being surveilled, when their data has been used against them, and they'll have a secret court to go. Well, and that's their recourse. They won't know if anything's been done.
Yeah, this seems like one of those things that in 5 years, when we find out they've been doing it all the time, they will say, well, no one ever asked in court. We got that court set up.
Yeah.
And no one ever showed up.
Yeah.
It's weird. We had no cases for 5 years. It seemed like no one had a problem with what was going on, I guess.
So I don't know who appointed the judges, but the one that announced the judges is Merrick Garland.
Mm-hmm. I think it said earlier in the article that the AG was the one who did it.
Oh, good.
So,
yeah, good.
So it is Garland.
Good. So it's Garland. 4 of them have deep-rooted experience with classified information from their previous careers in the NSA and National Security Council.
Oh, good.
Or the Department of Justice. Oh,
perfect.
Okay.
We've seen no problems in those arenas at all lately.
No. When intelligence agencies are, the watchdogs of themselves, what could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong? They're the experts in themselves.
Experts believe the intelligence community is cautiously waiting for the court's decisions with the hopes there won't be new restrictions imposed on its operations. The judge's final authority, however, creates a degree of concern. That finality could create an unanticipated problem for the administration, according to some intelligence experts. They believe the court could not just constrain the government's spying activity in specific cases, but set precedents that cut against the administration policy. Of what? Of spying on you. We're talking about a secret court, a secret agency, whose location we don't know. We know nothing about it. We have no idea what court cases are going through. And they're worried that it could set a precedent to cut against the administration policy. Of what? I thought we were talking about corporate data transfers.
And protecting Europeans. Why would this?
The executive order's language, however, specifies the court's ruling should apply only to the individual case that they are hearing, which we won't know about, nor will the people who brought the case.
How could it apply to other cases if no one knows what the result is?
Though experts believe decisions could still create an unofficial precedent for other surveillance operations. Again, surveillance operations. Wow.
I thought it was like, corporations, some handbag company is trading data with some department store overseas.
Right.
I thought that's what we're not talking about that.
No, we're not.
Sounds lucrative.
A citizen compliant first has to shuttle between an EU data protection official and the U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence, which will decide whether there was a civil rights violation from the data collection. So the National Intelligence Agency is going to decide whether or not that's even worth bringing up to the court. Regardless of the results, the response to the initial complaint will neither confirm nor deny that the EU resident was under U.S. surveillance. This is insanity. If you don't think our government is built a secret court on surveillance that you don't have access to, if you don't think that we are living in a time where this administration and past administrations have been building a cage for you where they know absolutely everything about you, you're fooling yourself. And you don't have a way to stop it. You could, of course, apply. You'll find that in the blue pages, I'm sure, in your phone book.
It sounds worrisome, but at the end of the day, remember, Eric Holder is there to watch the process.
Amen,
and so we
brother.
should be
Thank you for that ray of sunshine.